into the map, and there's no better feeling than the build up to an OCE Grand Final.
The moment has arrived, and haven't we been waiting essentially since day one for this stage? It's Team Bliss, it's RRR, the two best teams in the Oceanic League. Win, and you go to the major. Lose, and it's tears. We go into the ban phase, border, of which Bliss will be attacking first. OT doesn't matter, guys. In our minds, it's irrelevant completely. Who cares? First to 7 for Bliss, first to 6 for RRR. Dockerby, Lion, both taken off quickly. The Solace to follow. No surprises with really any of these bans thus far.
Yeah, Bliss love to ban Solace on border, pre-placed drones on attacker. A very, very influential factor into how they're able to get some of those key players inside the map, get information, get picks. So none of these bans stand out as being particularly intriguing. It does mean, though, that the Valkyrie has slipped through, and I suspect that we'll get some playtime alongside the Mirror as well. Bliss love the Mirror on defense. We saw it from Sage on Monday, and I suppose when we switch halves, we'll probably see it once more. But all focus now on the defense of RRR. They'll bring the Mirror themselves, Archives Armory to kick things off.
Very quickly as well, for those maybe unfamiliar with this region, the naming convention chosen by RRR is of a copycat nature to another team called the Carlton's Knights, which we'll play later on tonight. The other thing as well, we've got all 10 cameras too, so we can visibly see their faces and hopefully that both the agony and the anguish and maybe the elation at the end of all of it. And we saw obviously on Monday, Chef Jeff's emotional response to what was a very close match, and sort of the way that it ties into this was that was on border against Bliss. It was a 6-1 lead to Bliss. Mammoth brought it back to 6-4, and you just saw the agony on the face of Chef Jeff when it was a clutch from Bliss to close it out. It arguably should have gone to 6-5, and who knows what could have happened from there. And that also meant Mammoth could not make the major anymore. I'm hoping we can get some of that more footage of these players and sort of the way that they react to the final moments of this game when it does eventuate. For now, though, we start Armory and Archives. First round, RRR defense. Now, the way the border kind of plays, especially in this region, I'm looking at this as 50-50. I'm not too worried about the halves. I don't think either of these two teams are going to have to worry about, oh, we need 4 on attack or we need 3 on attack or anything like that. Border on this in this region can play largely 50-50. Every round is going to matter. Every moment is going to matter. And that's the beauty of it. Obviously, for us as viewers, as a best of one, that's the entertainment value. For the players, though, it puts so much stress into every single moment in all of these rounds.
Yeah, and it's the big moments that are the difference maker in this one. It'll be the clutch here or there, the multi-kill, the difference makers. And there's so many players inside the server, and that's the exciting thing, that are capable of big moments. Logger's had a massive stage, and he'll kick off over towards Bathroom. Hunted down, though, by this Bliss attack. Sage on a 2+ KD.
Oh my
but it's
God.
his brother and Brendo to get the first, and Logic in the grave.
Well, that might just be a sign of things to come for this match, that he was able to hit the headshot from the running Logic on the Oryx. I cannot believe he's hit that shot. That is insane. To kickstart what is essentially a grand final, to open it up in that kind of account to the best player of this region, this stage, 5 versus 4 for Bliss. Great start. And just also deals with that roam game, because that's really where the condition of the round was for RRR. Everyone else on site, you got one towards that security break position, and that's it. So that gives a lot of map control now for Bliss.
Doesn't look like they've established a whole lot of control, though, necessarily directly off the back of that at the moment. But it may free them down below, and Oda will take that opportunity. Look to log a grenade up above. Nate has been droned out. Doesn't quite land, though. Nate able to time his escape. Oda now with no grenades in hand. Minute on the clock. And despite losing the first pick, RRR haven't felt a whole lot of pressure around the map, but Fisho does get one, an eventual trade from Pinku. Still, though, left in the 4 versus 2 as Sage gets his first.
Yeah, Nate's position well and truly known, and he kind of just stuck around for too long. Oh, Pinku just saw the gun barrel last second. Eddie gets one back, needed that considering it was 2 versus 4. Pinku falls, that was shot in the back. So far it's Bliss that have been able to make a statement in the opening round. Down to just Edpan in a 1 versus 3, pushing through 90. Gets rid of the hack default, of course, from the clutch drone. Official guy, Wettables will get the plant down. They've got drones out. Bliss are not messing around. They're going to make this very difficult for Eddie. It's a nice Nitro cell. Good game sense. Play to hold outside on the bulk. Spot up, that's going to be the honor of Oda. And then they've got one further back. Oda wins it anyway. So a perfect start for Team Bliss in the grand final. 1-0.
And especially on a map like Border, Bliss, like a lot of really good teams, have the ability to snowball rounds. You get the first pick, it's very often we'll then see that round lean more heavily towards them. It's unlikely to lead to close rounds in most instances if played well by the attack.
What's this shot?
Great first pick.
Oh,
Just got him with the last bullet. Eddie tried his best over towards Office, but you can see he's being precarious. He knows that Bliss are going to be locking down the retake. So it was a tricky one for him, but Bliss played it in a really nice fashion. You could make an argument, the first pick, a little bit lucky there. There was an element of luck.
Create your own luck.
Exactly, yeah.
I think, though, the biggest thing for me is we've seen this stage from Logic. As great as he has been, and he's been rated the best player, there has been instances where he can start slow, but he does have the ability to bring himself back into those particular games anyway. So he's not the kind of player that's just going to rest on his laurels and think, oh, get down on himself because he started a little bit slow. So he really just plays within himself perfectly. If he starts slow, that's fine, he'll get back. If he starts hot, that's fine, he doesn't get too overconfident. But the biggest one was probably the inactiveness from Nate towards security. Didn't move around a lot. The first nade should have actually shown that he was obviously being watched and that his area was being scouted and they wanted to clear him out. He didn't do a whole lot off of that. Clearly wanted to hold that angle in towards 90. But a great start for Bliss. RRR looking for, obviously now, an immediate response, and this is probably what they're going to want. Back and forth, because the longer it goes back and forth in terms of rounds, the closer they get to that magical 6.
So it's going to be a game of info, right? We know Bliss love their pre-placed drones. They're also now playing the Brava on top of the Zero as well.
Well, that didn't work.
So that's a lot of information that could be made available. That's 5 additional points of information for the attack. RRR, again, without the Solace, because Bliss Bandit will need to be very, very mindful of that information and try to deny as much of it as they possibly can. Tension to be opened up first. Secondary hard breach there from Fisho. And that will probably be an opportunity for the likes of Brendo, probably Oda as well, to sneak their way in towards the map. Eddie, though, is located down below. Nitro Cell in hand. And Eddie's had a really good stage. He's had some big games so far. So I wouldn't rule him out from maybe making up for Logic. If Logic has a bit of a slow start, which he might, I don't know. I would suspect that Eddie, given how good he's been in the late round especially, could make up for that.
I mean, obviously, this goes for both teams, but they've basically got all 5 players that can perform. And that goes for both Bliss and RRR. And we've seen that not just throughout this stage, but also really their careers. So minute 30, slow round, no one really searching for that contact, especially from the side of RRR. They're more than happy to just sit back, play map control. They're not necessarily wanting to just run around, click heads. And we see from time to time on Border that teams like to go for these spawn peaks, go for these run-outs, try and clear these balcony positions. And RRR's not doing that. They're giving Team Bliss the respect. The problem is, on a map like Border, you kind of need to be aggressive on the defense. Otherwise, you can get really pushed back towards site. These positions can become quite vulnerable, and Oda gets the opening kill of this round with a minute to go. Logic on site in towards Vent. I don't know if he's been droned out, but he's sitting pretty deep there, and Wedables will get a drone onto his location. That's the clutch drone, 40 seconds remaining. And down a player, and Logic hasn't really been able to get going so far in the opening 2 rounds. Forced back over towards Server. Tuhan, though, with a big response on to Brendo, top main.
So 30 seconds then, Tuhan could look to play retake. Keep in mind there was that Valkyrie camera inside of security, but Fisho going for the plant.
Who's going to be able to stop this, though, from going down? Logic probably the closest to it, and he's not really able to get into a position to move. Plant is successful, but trades have gone out in favor of RRR. 3 versus 2 as things stands, but Bliss, they can play the outside game. Exterior is theirs to now play the plant. For the retake, that will come through from RRR. They're going to have to throw some bodies outside to deal with Wedables, to deal with Fisho Guy. They do still have a smoke available. What is Nate up to? 23 seconds. Time, the biggest factor now in this round. These are the moments that we talk about. These are the little bit of a difference that can be made. Wedables goes for 2. Piku just goes straight on it for the counter defuse. They tried to think their way through it, but Bliss were just 1 step ahead.
And I think Nate there is going to be really disappointed at how he played that. He tried to aggress by going for the jump out, but they'll know better than anyone that Team Bliss so often play on top of the bus in the post. It is a predictable position. He could have lined it up through the barricade, landed that shot, then overloaded the position on the defuse, and they probably could have won the round. Probably unfortunate as well they couldn't get in a position to deny plant. And there's that jump out from Nate. It allows Wettables to hold that position, has line of sight. Fisho guy still front door, can then make up for the fact Wettables doesn't have a position in that corner of the site. Team Bliss looking really, really good here.
5 rounds to go for Team Bliss. 6 still needed for RRR. That's the sort of counter that will continue to count down as we progress through these rounds. Perfect start though for our current reigning champions of the Oceania League. Looking to defend their throne. Really couldn't have asked for a better start. They've been able to shut down Logic. He's had 0 influence on this game. The #1 rated player in the region has not even really fired a shot. And unfortunately for RRR, the biggest thing that I've noticed thus far is they're just sitting back. They look nervous. For the first time this stage, they're not aggressive. And so that's giving Bliss so much time and space on a map like Border. They will punish you. And as much as it's frightening to think we need to try and get in their face, look for these early contact fights, because you know how good they are, you still got to do it. You got to back yourself in. And I don't think they're backing themselves in right now.
And that was a concern for me heading into this game. Can RRR actually perform at their best, if not better than we have seen throughout Stage 2? How much of it is their confidence heading into this game, knowing what's on the line? Team Bliss have shown over the years that they have been in these positions, they've lost out on occasion, but as time goes on, they've become better at stepping up in the moment, whereas RRR is still yet to be tested at this kind of level. This is the biggest game of their careers.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest game they've played was that grudge match against Odium, and that was probably more personal between Cairo and Logic. And even then, that was right to the death. Ping out Brendo, good for one. No, just able to get away with Logic top waiting, now in towards break. So again, yes, they're employing the roam game. They're lurking around these positions, forcing Bliss to clear them out, but they're not the ones that are necessarily peaking, looking to take these fights. You see Logic, he's a little bit worried because there's so many different angles towards his position in towards break, and he gets shut down by Sage. Logic didn't want the fight, but Sage did, and he gets the just rewards.
And that really showing the strength of Bliss there, applying pressure, multiple positions. You could see Logic desperately trying his hardest to lock them all down, but he couldn't. But now Eddie's back in the game. 2 kills for him thus far. He'll be looking to lock down this east stairs position. But again, we're looking at these RRR defenders and they're frantically checking multiple angles. And that's just due to the presence that Bliss have around the map. Now, information in hand, we can see how much they're gathering with those Brava clutch drones, and Oda capitalizes. He doesn't lose those fights. RRR, no immediate trade. 200 is close by, and he's looking to probe over towards Fountain, and he could catch Oda from behind, and he does. Can he turn around for the second? No. So Nate now in the 1v3.
Yeah, and I think in that instance, Tuhan's thought is if I don't swing that initially, he's going to think that position's clear. No one's there. Maybe I'm then good for 2 from behind. But then he's not in a good position for the second swing from Wettables from behind. Had he actually swung first, got the kill onto Oda, then maybe he's in a better position to reposition from that spot. This is actually turning into a smack from Bliss onto RRR. The grand final matchup that we've been so longing for and waiting for has been incredibly one-sided to begin with, and a tactical timeout has been called by RRR. Team Bliss are 4 rounds away from making it back-to-back major appearances. They've got 1 foot out the door towards Atlanta. Can RRR turn this around? What do they need to do to turn this around? I imagine outside of this tack, they'll probably go back to an armory and an archive. Do they look to be a bit more aggressive? Do they try and go for some more spawn peaks? Because so far, they're not doing a whole lot, and I think you can see that with the embodiment of what Logic's doing towards break. He's watching these positions, he's watching these angles, he's forcing them to clear him, but he's not peeking, he's not looking for shots, he's not aggressive.
I think if there's anything RRR are talking about during this tactical timeout, it's probably 2 things. One, they need to do a better job at trying to counter the information gathering tools here from Bliss, especially those clutch drones and, you know, the ability for Wettables to gain that information, communicate it clearly, and then the team's acting upon it. But it's also, I think, just being a bit more supportive of each other around the map. We're seeing a lot of these really isolated fights Logic, again, a good example, where he's under pressure from multiple players, multiple angles. Where's the help? No one's helping him.
Yep.
He's got 3 players on his position.
They're not playing as a team.
And no one else is on him. You can't be relying on Logic to just pop off like he may have against weaker teams.
It looks like 5 individuals on defensive border. It almost looks like a ranked defense border right now from RRR. And we know that they can play better than this. I will say, though, and you give the plaudits to Bliss, they've come out with a massive punch to kickstart this grand final, essentially. And they looked like the experienced and veteran team that we anticipated from them. So they've been anything but short of the mark. They've been utterly perfect to begin with. 3 attacking rounds on border. I will say border, if it's going to lean itself to any side, attack can typically do well in the Oceanic League, but we're talking about a very minuscule advantage. And when it comes down to these 2 teams, it doesn't matter. It's a perfect start for Bliss. RRR off the back of this tactical timeout, I'm going to say it, and we know the statistics. You do find an improved win rate off of attack. If they don't win this round and it's 4-0, I'm ready to put a line through RRR.
Yeah.
I don't know if they've got 6 out of 8 rounds in them against Bliss.
I'm genuinely not that concerned for RRR at the moment, but it all hinges on this round, and are they able to stall the momentum out from Team Bliss? Has that tactical timeout been effective? Do they feel comfortable enough defensively to tweak a couple of things going forward for the remainder of this match?
Bomb located by
Those are the question marks that are now going to be asked of them.
So a more extensive hold. Top E's, one towards break, one towards security. So a lot more of that focus is obviously towards that sort of side of the map. That does kind of mean in terms of the more direct approach towards Armory and Archives is available. But you've got Pinku around 90. He can slip in towards security. Nate and Logic are kind of a bit closer, a bit tighter together, so they can kind of defend those positions a bit better. They can get some trades, and that means you can also be a little bit more aggressive off of those positions. But the way that Bliss have played pretty much every single round, slow approach. Don't let them spawn peek us. Let's play the drone game. Let's get information. What positions are they playing? Let's overwhelm those positions one at a time and get it from a 5v5 to 4-3. And then slowly, once we then have like a 5-on-3 or a 4-on-2 advantage, we hit site.
So Oda going for the default nade there up through into that security box position, but it is not currently being held. As far as I know, there is a 0 camera in that position as well to aid. Pinku gets the first though, and that's probably been another big issue for RRR, are the entry fights. They haven't been favourable. Oda now. Over towards metal. We hear the fountain reinforcement go up.
That's only hard breach as well for the round too. So they're going to put a little bit more peace of mind for RRR on certain positions that won't be able to be opened up by those Selmas, as Brendo has been eliminated. And I think the biggest thing for RRR now, it's got to be confidence, especially off the back of that tactical timeout. This is basically worst nightmare scenario to start 0-3 in this game, to then have to now play from behind. But they've got to back themselves in that they can do it. Frag grenade still available for Oda. He goes lurking in towards Workshop, and he's going to try and get another kill from below. He's been so good at this all season long. It's his bread and butter. Off to the ping. Well, that player continues to move around. 44 seconds now, and a 4 versus 4. It's fitting, and the nade again from Oda.
Oh, no.
He just doesn't feel as if he's going to be able to hit it. He's waiting a bit longer to get rid of Nate, and this should be successful. Nate. His name is on this grenade from Oda. No,
What?
half health, he survives, but he's shot anyway by Fisho. And here comes Bliss for the entry.
I don't know how the grenade did not hit. Punish there. Oda perhaps not just cooking it right, but a 4 versus 3, and Fisher to go for the plant.
Oda!
Oda goes deep, and he could well get one more. Logic, Eddie, isolated. There's one shot from Eddie, but will it be enough? There's another from Log.
Yeah, but they've got to get the counter defuse now, and that's not going to be easy. Good retake scenario for Bliss. They like the plant that they've got from Fisho and Weatables. Once again, it's down to them as it was in the opening round. Every round has its moments, and so far Bliss have won all of the key moments. And Weatables again in the clutch. He's 6-0. Put some respect on his name, because they are putting RRR in the bin. 2 versus 1, and as good as Logic has been all season long, this is a task that is too heavy for him, and Weatables makes it 7-0. Bliss are running rampant on border in the grand final. They are 3 rounds away from Atlanta.
Weatable silencing the server at the moment, and he is a player where we were perhaps raising some question marks early on in the stage for him, where he wasn't posting numbers. Not that it's really his primary role, but the fact that he is not only now IGLing and leading this roster, but also fragging out and hitting nice shots in the post. Huge value for Bliss being extracted from him today. And those key players from RRR unfortunately, so far, not providing that same level of value. Logic, 1 kill, not good enough.
Nate.
Pinku, 2 kills, not good enough. Nate as well, only on the singular kill. Team Bliss are just slaughtering RRR at the moment. If RRR want to stay alive in this match, next 2 rounds must win. Anything less, it's GG.
Yeah, I'm in total agreement. I think even 1 round here and it's a 5-1 lead for Bliss going into the second half. I just don't see a way back for them. If they can get it back to 4-2, then maybe you can start to believe once again. But even that's a little bit copium. Because the way that Bliss are playing right now, it's the best that we've seen from them since stage 1. Better than any other game from stage 2. They're clinical, they're clean, they're not making mistakes, they're getting plants, they're not just winning based on TDM meta stuff. They're actually executing perfectly. They're not panicking in situations like Oda down below. Perfect. He should have probably got that kill with the nade on to Nate. He survives, but you know what that still comes from though is patience. He didn't just throw the first one. He waited till he really got the best position. So that's where Bliss have just been better. They've been far more calculated in their attack. They're not rushing things. They're not making mistakes. They're playing an ultra clean game right now, and RRR just cannot go with them.
Oh, this is a really good counter as well. So the clutch drone from Fisher Guy to hack the mezzanine Valkyrie camera. And for me, this has been a huge difference maker. These clutch drones providing so much value on top of the information as well. And there's a drone
they might get
at
a
the
free
feet of Tuhan, and
yeah.
I think he has absolutely no idea. He still hasn't seen it.
No. And this is the difference here where you're just not quite aware of these little things. You know that they have been playing the Bravo. You know there's clutch drones around. You've got to be prepared to sweep the floors a little bit better than that. So much information for Fisher that finally gets destroyed. It just feels as if this is a final that has fizzled before it even began. Can RRR find a way to just turn things on and maybe bring it back? Tuhan, sharp headshot. Brendo successful, and he's been the one that's been quiet in this game. The younger of the 2 brothers, 1 and 5, and he's been able to be shut down despite that. Bliss 4-0. It just speaks to the volumes of them as a team. The Nitrocell gets Oda to half health.
So Logic then. Will there be a moment in this match where he turns it up to another gear? No.
Wow.
Shut down again. Sage too strong. Eddie misses the trade. Punished from down below.
How good is Weatherpulse right now? In a do-or-die match, he has been the one to just go to the next level. All the talk about Jigsaw this and Jigsaw that. Well, Weatherpulse is playing like the very man. And it's Fisher Guy again. It's also turning into a fragger in this match. 4 versus 2. RRR are firmly on the ropes. And the referee is counting to 10. Not quite the knockout blow just yet, but damn, they are throwing a flurry of punches. And RRR just cannot respond.
Oda low, Fisher as well. So if there's any moment for Nate to clutch, it's probably this. But Fisher Guy has the cross. Nate forced into the fight as he tries to make himself known in the sight, but he's shut down. And Team Bliss continue their dominance.
This is totally unexpected, Guz. For every sense of the word, 5-0 to Bliss. Them winning is not unexpected. Them winning rather comfortably is not unexpected. Winning 5-0 at this point to now get to a point where they are 2 rounds away to go to the major, and RRR don't have a single round, that is unexpected. But that is the sheer dominance of this Bliss roster and what they're capable of at their very best. And right now, we are seeing their very best before our eyes, and RRR just can't go with them. They don't have another level to go to. And Logic 1 and 5, we know he likes to talk the talk, and he always walks the walk. And while he's been in this position before, you think back, cast your mind, the Odium game. Started, what, 2-7 against his arch rival in Cairo, and he brought it back, and he brought his team back into that game. That's something that they're going to need here. But they are going to need a superhuman effort from all 5 players from this point on. If you think about it, they have to win 6 of the next 8 rounds. And where's that going to come from? I don't see it. And I certainly don't believe it.
5 seconds left before insertion.
Yeah, even my belief as a neutral observer is really starting to dwindle. And I think as well the player cams there from RRR showed that they were probably starting to feel a little bit frustrated themselves. If their belief has tapered away, there is no chance of them bringing this match back. We're going to need to see Herculean effort from them because Bliss are just running rampant at the moment. We'll see the Bliss brought into play so Eddie can try to feed info.
Yeah, I like Eddie on the pulse here. He's been good. He's probably been one of their better players besides maybe Tuhan in this first half. And I say that not just because he's 3 and 5, but he has kind of looked a little bit more active on the defense and wanting to find some kills. I like him on the pulse here. Good ability to get some information. And this is where, as much as we think that this final is likely very much over and Bliss are 1 foot on the plane to Atlanta, neither of these two teams have to have that mindset. Bliss have got to keep the mindset of 1 round at a time, 1 round at a time. We're not there yet. And RRR also have to have the exact same mindset. They can't just give up now and hang their heads and think this is going to be too hard, too difficult, too much required of us. You keep it at that 1 round at a time mentality, and funnier things have happened in this game. Eddie, that's not too bad. And it needs these little moments now to bring it back for RRR. They get the opening kill on to Oda at a pretty good point in the round, the midpoint, just when Bliss are wanting to really start to get a bit of an execute towards the side. An execute they might just go for. Maybe sensing RRR are spread out throughout the map. Candelas, Smoked, and Fisho for the plant.
So the plant will go down. The question will be, where is the denial from RRR? And it lands. Nate with the UMP. Sage tried to go deep, but denied, and Wedables on an island. Brendo in passport eventually finds 114 Bliss. Wedables as well. So the question now is, can they connect in the 2v3? They have a lot of time.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. 1:10 seconds, so they've got time. They don't have to worry too much about diffuser, plant, and all of that. They can actually just go hunting in the 2 versus 3. And at this point, I'd back in Wedables. He's 10 and 1. The man is on a mission. He wants to go to a major. He wasn't on this roster back in stage 1. He wants to see what it's like to go to the very top of the mountain. 50 seconds as Brendo goes scanning, but he doesn't find what he was looking for. Nate with a big round from him. Now the 1v3 for Wedables, as good as he's been, surely not even he can win this one. He does get rid of Logic, further compounds what's been an awful game for the Log Dog at 1 and 6. Wedables at 11 and 1. With still 30 seconds left. You cannot give him 2 1v1s. Nate and Pinku have got to be sharp. Nate, though, he's fast asleep at the wheel. And Wedables has every opportunity now to firmly put the dagger into the heart of RRR. He goes for the plant. Pinku on the Oryx. And he's not fast enough to deny. Wedables has gotten the plant down. And then outside he goes to the alleyway and says, Pinku, now it's your turn.
And he could just sit and wait. Pinku will be forced to go for the peak or the vault out. It will take an insane shot, but he can bait it out. Wedables forced forward. Oh, Pinku,
he knows
will he
outside.
stick it? No, he can't. But he repositions once more. Wedables is playing this to absolute perfection. He gets off a little bit early, but it doesn't matter. Wedables too good in this match.
Wedables, you are a superstar, making a name for yourself before our very eyes. That is insane, of the highest order that we've seen in this region. To never give up. Match point, major point, and they've got 6 of them.
They know it's over. Look at their faces.
They know they
despair.
have been absolutely pantsed in this final. Embarrassed, despite some good efforts from Eddie in this match. Despite a valiant round where they were up 5 versus 2 and maybe just felt like they'd been able to turn the switch on. Wedables, he turned the table on them in this one. That is a seriously massive round.
He probably could not believe his luck there where Nate just gets caught off. There must have been a missed call there from RRR. Got that freebie. Plays the post perfect. I mean...
You are going to a major, my friend. You are going to a major.
13 kills. I tell you what, he bloody deserves it.
And he has taken his team with him. Everyone said that Bliss were going to be worse this stage, that Jigsaw's loss was not going to be replaceable. But Wedables has more than made up for that. Wedables paying back everything to this team for trusting in him, for picking him up and saying, you are good enough for us. 6-0. I should reiterate for some that maybe have only tuned in or not quite sure as to the ramifications. Yes, indeed, the winner of this game goes to the major, but Bliss have well and truly made this into a dead rubber. They've made this look like it's a match that does not matter. RRR, shell-shocked, embarrassed, and have had their pants well and truly pulled down on the biggest of stages.
disappointing for RRR. They just haven't been in a moment like this before.
I lost all my channel points.
You put all your channel points at RRR?
I did.
Oh, shit. How many?
I was only like at 13k.
Oh,
because I keep putting all my points on teams that just apparently shit the bed.
And it just shows that in these big moments, Team Bliss, they have what it takes because they have been here so many times before with similar stakes. Tuhan down below. Information for a nade. We'll see if that lands. It does. So that's Oda shut down. Nate, the jump out from behind. Sage looks to pounce on his position, but unable to get the kill.
Yeah, and to reiterate one last time, but RRR can still go to the major, of course, by now winning 6 rounds in a row themselves, but that is a chance that is very unlikely to happen. Logic will be so disappointed with his performance. Best player of the stage, MVP of the stage, but technically with this being the last game of the stage, I don't think he's going to be able to hold that crown anymore. I'm not necessarily too sure who would take it. Sage would certainly be in the conversation. He's been good in this game. Shot pistol from Nate, unsuccessful, and everything is just going against them. RRR just sensing the urgency now. They can't give up on it as much as it feels like a daunting task, of which it is. Logic finally gets into the server through Archives. He gets the kill onto Edibles. Tuhan as well, doubles up. He's done his part, but no more part in this round. Down to just Sage and Brendo, the brothers in arms, and how fitting it would be to clutch this up for one last round to 7-0 with the brothers to stand strong together. 25 seconds for RRR to find a successful plant. Logic probably should be able to get this off, and he does, and they will shut down the brothers. Sage in a 1v3, and he cannot emulate what we saw from Edibles. Finally, RRR have a round on the board, but surely it's too little too late.
Woo! They did it. Woo! Let's go. It would definitely be the most attacker-sided border I've ever seen in my life if they somehow get even remotely close to winning this.
12 rounds played, 12 attacking rounds. Yeah, it's unlikely, isn't it?
5 in a row, that's what they'll need. A little bit messy there. Nate trying to go deep. The Monty taken down, but could be revived. Unfortunately, Sage and Brendo distant from the objective. So good attempt.
Yeah.
Also have received word as well that if Team Bliss win this game, or when they win this game, and qualify for the major, they significantly bolster their chances for SI.
What's the chance?
It's not an absolute shoo-in. Nuttery, the Liquipedia expert, is tipping around 90%.
Okay.
So I'm guessing they have to, of course,
so
win this.
Like a lot of other results elsewhere
other
would
regions.
have to
They
really...
probably have to actually, win some games at the major as well to help. So.
But yeah, obviously incredibly likely to then go to SI. And deservedly so from this region, there's no debate. As an amazing season as RRR have had, when you take into account the entire calendar year, all of 2023 leading up to SI, Bliss is the team from this region that deserves to go to represent. An incredible performance from Edibles. To think of the journey that he's made from lowly teams in the Oceanic Nationals to now going to a major. They've still got 5 rounds though, RRR, to bring this back, but it's so incredibly unlikely. You cannot put a foot wrong, and all they've been doing in this game has been putting feet wrong, in the wrong places at the wrong time, constantly making mistakes, and constantly being punished by Team Bliss, who really at this point can play aggressive on the defense. They can look to go for these spawn peaks. Nice shot from Tuhan though. Does shut down Fisho Guy. And Tui's been good.
And I mean, that's the kind of confidence and creativity we needed to see more from RRR defensively. They were playing incredibly passive and weren't closely linked either. Attacking-wise, they're actually playing as a good unit so far, which is good to see. And if they're able to just continue to mount rounds, eventually that belief starts to kick back in.
Yeah,
You win the next 2 rounds, and then it's very much, guys, we're still in with a chance here, keeping in mind they only need 6.
It hasn't played out this way, but I do wonder how this final could have looked if RRR had have started on the attack. Maybe you get like a 3-3 half or something, and then just getting those rounds on the board. I think for RRR, it's also a confidence thing. As you keep losing and losing these clutch and key moments, all of them going to Bliss in the first half, it's really more difficult to sort of just reset mentally in the moment. Tuhan over towards security, spotted by Oda. What a shot from Oda. The stage 1 MVP. Once again, having a very significant stage 2. Shuts down Tuhan, who's looked the most lethal from RRR. Under 90 seconds remaining. All of the onus is on RRR to get that plant down.
So the Brava as well being used here by RRR to gain information. Also an apt way to deal with the Valkyrie. You can hack those cameras and steal that information for yourself. A 4 versus 4. The onus though on RRR to try and isolate one more pick. Eddie as well, scouting out information. Nate's the one with the diffuser in hand. RRR still yet to poke up above, and keep in mind with the pulse in play, that could make things very interesting, but it's no longer in play. Pinku, and we go deep.
Yeah.
We'll see if he can snowball this. It is a 4v3.
They don't have Vert though. That's my major concern in this round for them, as Oda then gets rid of Logic at the exact same time. Now 3v3, you don't have Vert. Sure, you've kind of unlocked sight, but Brendo has to be dealt with above. This is a big fight for Eddie. Over towards Custom Sage. He's made a little bit of noise as he walks away from that location, though. That means that Eddie's no longer at that close position. Nate, Gumine, position, 20 seconds. Is this the round for Bliss to confirm the spot of the major? Big fight. Eddie did end up winning that fight against Sage. Recall the fact that they've still got the Vert, though, Bliss. That's the biggest part. And Oda's coming in last second to once again potentially break their hearts. He couldn't confirm the shots, though. Nate will get the plant down successfully. 3 in the round for Oda. In the 2 versus 2.
And Brendo's been up above the entire time. He hasn't been able to do much. But now Pinku, in the 1 versus 2, needs to hold out.
Can he create 2 1 versus 1 scenarios against Brendo and Oda? 2 players that have been to the top of the mountain before. Pinku, that's 1. He knows where the last is. It's Oda, though. Of course it is. The Stage 1 King returns to once again take the throne that is his and his team's only for this stage. In the end, their resilience was not tested. They took this one for their own. They are once again the kings of this region. Team Bliss make it back-to-back majors.
Oh. I mean, what a match in the end. It was clinical.